I'm Linda Ty-Casper, and I'm a writer. I write mostly historical fiction so that we won't forget who we are or what we went through, and we'll know what to be when the time comes to make the choices. I don't write regularly. I don't plan to write, but I do a lot of research. I do a lot of reading, and I take notes. So I think things lead to another, and although I might be doing something else, I might be at a meeting, I might be digging weeds, planting, cooking, and I make good relleno. Suddenly an idea would come to me, and if I'm not too involved with what I'm doing, I'll sit down and write it, stay with it until it's complete. When I start, I never know how it will end. That's not a very practical way of doing it, but that's the only way I could write. One word leads to another until the end, and then all I have to do is to revise. And that's the way with my short stories. So my chapters in my books are short. They're like short stories. They come to me unplanned. Practically wrote themselves. I don't remember. Sometimes I read a book, I don't remember writing it. It just, maybe I typed it, but I kept typing and typing and typing, and NVM said, enough revising, you, too much, I'll take it. Took my first manuscript, Peninsulars, brought it to Bookmark, and they published it. Because if I sat down to write, Hemingway said, sit down and write the first word, the, and it will become whatever. I can't do that. If I write the, I look at the page, there's nothing happening, So that's the way I write. I don't make myself write. I don't know how long I've been writing. I don't know. I remember when I was preparing for the bar, I wrote some stories, I think. One was about a farmer whose land was unregistered, which he didn't know he had to register. It was in his family for years and years. And the family, I could tell you the name, but I won't, registered it in their name, so they lost their land. I was kind of trying to make things right because my grandmother told us a lot of stories about the Revolution, the American War. And maybe I really didn't want to be a lawyer because remember, I wanted to enroll in history. I think I am now my grandmother telling stories. And she would be happy if she knew that. She died in 1953. She had good stories. But I'm writing for the young people who didn't have a nanay to tell them stories about the war and the revolution. Because otherwise we'll be caught up in Hollywood kind of stories. Other countries have their own stories, but we should have, by right, our own stories and write it ourselves. That's why. I think it's kind of an excuse, maybe, that I don't want to do something else. See, I don't need things anymore. And I don't know how long I'll be here. I can't see that well. I can't walk. I'm 93. Those are all the ingredients for and passing away. Do you know, I wake up early and I look up and the sun shines through the pine trees or the trees, and I look and kind of close my eyes. It's like a monstrance. And sometimes I'm watching mass and the swans come by. I like the swans because they're quiet. I'm sitting there watching the birds, and I can see the blue heron walking, stalking, and now and then I see a kayak. Sometimes I'm able to start the day with a grateful heart, and that's what I think is the best way to do it. No matter what happens during the day. Sometimes it's just lousy, but I'm grateful. I'm a kind of private person. I mean, I will be friendly, but I won't go out and seek people, you know. We write for noble ideas. We don't have to strut. So I just write. That's all I do. I write quietly, and people don't even know I write, because a lot of people say, "Oh, I didn't know you write." I said, "Well, I'm not going around saying I write. I mean, what's the point? I'm doing it really not to be known. I don't have to be known. But the books, I want to be known because it's about us. It's us. We should remember our country, I think. I still think when people ask me, "Are you American?" I said, "No, I'm Filipino." I haven't, for some reason, I think it's because of Nanay. That's what I am. And so I want to remember as much of what happened in our history, which I can't anymore. I can't read anymore. You know, I wish I had started earlier than the Peninsulars, but I didn't have any material. I wish I had written, oh, but somebody will do it eventually. They will find new material somewhere, hidden somewhere in one of those old Malabon houses. I still think there are some material that to be discovered, and I hope they're discovered and they're protected and they are written about, because we have to, in a world that's changing, that is not really very pro-Filipino, I don't think. We have to fight for ourselves. And fighting for ourselves is writing our stories and writing what we remember, so it will be part of the country's memory. Not just our memory, but everybody's memory. And that way history can't be revised, because otherwise we would disappear. I think once I said, history is the biography of the country, but literature is the autobiography. It's our story. And if we don't write our story, somebody else will write it for us.